to right, and it's past. Here it comes. PCA to the plate, and wide! Inside the park home run, Pete Crow Armstrong. Flores, fly ball, left field. It's going, and it's gone.
Welcome into another edition, the finale edition of the Sandlot Survivor Cup, the inaugural Survivor Series. Really excited that we made it this far. It seemed like it kind of took a long time, but I think that was part of it. And I'm really excited to be here with Marcus and John, the final two of the inaugural Survivor Cup. So how this is going to work is I'm going to give a recap of kind of how we got here. And then after I give the recap, I'm going to ask Marcus and John questions. And you guys, I know you probably have your votes already made up, but try to have the questions that I asked them sway your vote a little bit. You know, if they played a good game and they deserve your vote, then vote that way. But they're going to answer it as honestly as they can, and how they played the game, that should matter on how you vote. But kind of how we got here, I'm going to go week by week and see how we got to John and Marcus. So week one was a close vote between Jared and Van Way. Jared had two more votes than Van Way. Van Way almost went out early, but week one, Jared got voted out. Week two, Stevie got voted out in a close one between him and John. Week three, we had our first Immunity Idol play, and that was Nathan. So Nathan played his Immunity Idol, and then there was a tie between Clayton and John. And so on the revote, Clayton got voted out. Week four, Nathan played his second Immunity Idol, and Preston received the second round of votes, and Preston got voted off. Week 5 was a close week of voting between Nate, Logan, and Van Way, with Van Way being voted out. In week 6 was the biggest lopsided votes we had of the year, and Nate was voted out there. Week 7 was a close one. There was a three-way tie between PB, Marcus, and Luke. PB used his Immunity Idol, and then Luke was voted out in the tiebreaker. Week 8, Logan got voted out. And then week 9 was decided by Roto. So week 9 was the final three with PB, Marcus, and John. PB got third in the Roto scoring, and so that's how I'm sitting here today with John and Marcus. So we will dive right into the questions. And again, this is the reason why I'm asking these questions is to help you guys decide on who you're going to vote. So have an open mind coming into this on who your vote's going to be. And how it's going to work is you guys are going to watch the video. You're going to send me a video of you voting and why you voted the way you did. So then we're going to put a collage together at the end and make a cool little exit video for the first Survivor Cup. So, first question comes from Logan. And this is to Marcus. Logan asks, why...
Winter Regional.
Nope. Could be it.
It could be. He asks, why choose the snake route?
Oh, it's a good one. Interesting.
And I have not read them these questions, so these are the first time they're hearing these questions.
It's good. It's an interesting question. I wouldn't classify myself as a snake. I think I played a fairly honest game, as honest as I could, from the beginning to the end. I had a certain ally, which now we can let it be known. PB and I were the closest allies out of anybody this year. And so whatever vote I made was to benefit PB and I. I went into this knowing that I wasn't one of the better teams, and so my whole goal was to get the tougher teams out as quickly as possible. So.
All right, next question comes in from Nate. This is to John. John, did you expect to see yourself here whenever this thing started with the final two?
I did not, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know almost anything about it. But I did catch on pretty quick. I had Preston to kind of guide me through the first couple weeks and let me know that everybody was gunning for me in the first.
Not everybody.
First 2 out of 3, but no, I caught on after that though. But did I expect to be here? Probably not.
And this next question comes from Nate as well, and this goes to both of you. So not to look ahead to next year, but are you guys worried about being potential targets to start this? If we do this again next year, are you worried about being potential targets next year?
Absolutely.
Not really. Stevie's still annoying, so, so everybody's going to want to get Stevie. I feel like Van Way's got a target on his back. Clayton got legitimately mad when he got voted off,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking that's going to sway some votes early next year too. So and Jared didn't have a chance. We talked about that before we started. So there's almost half the field I think that guys will be going after before me. So I got 3 or 4 weeks to generate some alliances and some strategies.
Maybe that can be a discussion this offseason too, is start making alliances. I think we're going to do a little different next year.
Never start too early.
Yeah. Question, Marcus from Nate. So this is kind of like the first question I asked, but Nate wants to know, were you the OG rat?
Absolutely not. So I created the group chat that initiated the vote for Stevie, yes. But I was not the original rat that ratted the group chat out. Nate owned up to that. I have a screenshot of that, which I could have provided, but I don't think that it was necessary. Nate knows that he admitted to it. Whether or not everybody else believes it is up to them. There were several rats in that group that started to squeal as Stevie started to ring necks and call people out. But no, I was not the original rat. I defended myself when I found out that Van Way was throwing me under the bus to Stevie. Rightfully so. I feel like anybody would if they're being thrown out as the original rat. I defended myself and let Stevie know who was in that group and whose intentions were what.
So take me back to after Stevie got voted out.
Yeah.
Did he play a part in framing you as the rat, or was that more of the lines of the people that were in the game?
Stevie was definitely the head man in that. I mean, it was very well known that Stevie was upset with the way that it went down. He felt like he had me in his grips, and I told Stevie, like, you're one of the toughest teams here, and I knew that when it came down to it, you were going to cut me before you cut guys like Luke and LB, and guys like that. So I do believe that Stevie kind of led that charge of riling up the troops, if you will, against me. And I do think that there were some others within the group that piggybacked onto that if it benefited them, but in the long run it didn't, and so they began to get a little bit quiet. Van Way and I, cooler heads prevailed, and we were able to work through it that following week and get Clayton out, I believe. But yeah, no, I think Stevie led the charge there.
Interesting. John, this is coming from Nate. Did you have a plan once you kind of figured out how things, because I know you said you didn't know what was going on in the first couple weeks, once you figured out how the game was being played, did you have a plan to lay low, or did you have a secret partnership that no one really knew about?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I adopted the lay low, easy target strategy. Okay, and I played dumb. I mean, I played dumb some too. It wasn't difficult at all. But yeah, the lay low. Everybody that's eliminated, well, that puts you one step closer to being the last guy. Okay, so if everybody's talking about Stevie, what are you going to defend? I'm going to defend him. Let's leave Stevie alone. How about Nate? No, you pile on. So yeah.
So now, I mean, you use that strategy this year. You're going to have to probably switch it up next year, I'd say, because now I know. But I think it was a good strategy.
Yeah.
This is for both of you from Preston and PB. Kind of elaborate, and I know some of the questions have been kind of asked about this, but kind of elaborate on how you made it this far. Marcus, we can start with you.
So for me, just like having the relationships that I have with some of these guys, from the past, like I was able to just communicate with them one-on-one and get down to their level, if you will, and have real conversations with them. And for me, the way I got here, I kind of laid everything out. Every vote, like I had an idea of how it was going to go, and in order to get guys swayed my way, I tried to lay it out in a very clear text to them. And I felt like, especially the last vote to get to get Luke out, I laid that out not only to John but to PB. Luke kind of crossed me there at the end with that double vote. Blindside. I mean, he very well could have blindsided me because I voted for PB that week just to save face with Luke and with Logan because I told them that I was going to vote for PB, but knowing that PB had his hidden immunity, I was the only one that PB told that information to. And so I willingly voted for PB to kind of save face for a vote here at the end. And I about got myself cut. And so throughout the entire year, I just tried to be real with people, tried to put my cards out there for everybody. Although it was played like I was a snake, I didn't feel like I was being fictitious with anybody other than Van Way most of the time.
And John, we kind of just talked about it, but do you have anything else that how you got this far besides kind of laying low? Like, were there any times that maybe this is a good time for you to like brag and say, you know what, I did do this one time, and that was a good week for me? But
what are you saying? I just got lucky?
No,
of course like I said, the lay low, kind of hide in the bushes thing. I mean, it really worked because I wasn't in on any of the group messages, but Preston was. So I was getting the information from him without anybody really knowing that I was getting the information. So if that's not hiding in the bushes, I don't know what is. And then also, like I said, when the crosshairs start moving to Van Way, then I would maybe, hey man, is everybody voting Van Way this week? I'm like, yeah. So the lay low, hide in the bushes, the easy target, and I really only had to make one decision. When it got down to about 5 guys, Marcus messaged me. Well, first of all, Van Way messaged me. He's like, hey, Marcus, just putting your name out there to go this week. And I'm like, all right, well, this is getting interesting now. This is early in the week. And then, without me soliciting anybody, then I hear from Marcus. He's like, hey, Van Way's trying to get you out, trying to make it look like me. So here's the only decision I made. Because you got to start making an alliance at that point with somebody. Either going to go with Marcus or go with a guy whose best bud calls him Van Way the Snake. Marcus, Snake, Marcus, yeah. So I tied in with Marcus and PB and Luke at the time. And after that, there's always, it's just like fantasy baseball. There's some luck involved too. I won immunity 2 straight weeks. So it didn't matter who was after me then. My team just started playing really well at the right time. And then the final week, I knew I only had to beat one guy. I didn't have to beat both guys. So I was watching PB's categories like a hawk. Because Marcus won that week. So I just, all I got to do is win more categories in PB. And that got me here.
Marcus, you kind of touched on this just in your answer. Did it hurt to eliminate Luke? I know there's like emotions in this game, and like it got heated a couple times. But like whenever you kind of backstabbed Luke, did that emotionally hurt, or how did that feel?
So I wouldn't say it hurt because early on it was between Luke and Stevie. When that text message started to circulate, my initial thought was Luke because I felt like Luke's team was better overall than Stevie's. But then Nate had a much bigger voice in that group message, and it ended up being the Stevie. We leaned towards Stevie, but as things started to go along, obviously Luke and I have a really good relationship, and we trust each other, and I felt like I could trust what he said down the road. And he hadn't crossed me up until that last 4 vote, but up until then I really wasn't wanting to get him out. I felt like I could trust him down the road. But I knew if it came down to whose team's going to beat Luke in the end, I knew my team didn't have a shot, so I knew I wanted to get him out sooner rather than later.
This one goes to both of you. And this is an interesting question. Van Way sent this one in. If you guys weren't sitting here, you know how everybody played the game. If you guys weren't sitting here, who do you think would be sitting in your seats?
Probably Luke.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Luke and probably PB.
PB almost made it.
He did. He was very close. He had a rough week.
Lay low like me.
Yeah. He did.
I forgot he was in the league.
Yeah. The winner of between you two, the winner gets $50. So why do you? And that's that's a free league. That's a free summer of fantasy baseball. Is because it's your entry fee. So why do you deserve the $50? And this question was sent from Van Way as well. And you can kind of hit on
I don't know if deserves got anything to do with it. I'll probably just buy a couple cases of beer with it.
Yeah, or so we can say, because Stevie kind of asked this question too. What will you do with your winnings, and how will you celebrate?
Marcus is going to lose this. Marcus probably gonna buy some shoes for
Got
somebody.
4 kids, and
on the
I've
basketball
got,
team,
I
house full of kids.
got a house full of kids. Got to buy food. I'll give the pity party. No,
I'm
I mean,
honest. I'm gonna probably buy a beer and a couple cigars.
You can buy Yinglings now in Illinois.
Oh yeah.
get you a whole case of Fitz, maybe. Nah,
No,
it's too tame for you.
I'll buy a Fitz and pour it out for Steve.
Oh, there you go.
You gotta record it.
Yeah.
Before we move on to talk about the end, I'm going to let each one, Marcus and John, talk about just anything they want to talk about. And the 3 categories we are voting on is outwit, outplay, and outlast, which they both did a great job at all 3 of those categories. But that's what you're voting on. So I'll let them, as long as they want or as short as they want, have some closing remarks on those 3 categories of how did you outplay, outwit, and outlast the competition. Any closing remarks you want to say?
I'll go first, I guess. So for me, just the outwit and outlast, outplay. I felt like all season, my team's not been one of the top teams in the league. Obviously, standings wise, I'm there towards the bottom. So I started off the year, started off this whole thing knowing that I needed to get in with the guys that I knew were strong teams and could be strong alliances for me. I kept PB in my back pocket as a real strong alliance member till the very end. I felt like I was very honest with PB. I felt like I was honest with most of the guys in all of our group messages, with the exception of Van Way at times and Nate at times. Obviously, when push came to shove, we knew that those 2 were going to be the ones that votes were piled onto because of just the gameplay there. But I tried to use that to my advantage in every group chat that I was involved in. I don't feel like I was a snake throughout it, although that's been thrown around. Your vote may be already established, but I would ask that you look at the total resume that I've got. I won 2 immunities, the first and the very last, which in my mind was the most important one at the very end there. To make it to this point, I don't feel like I crossed too many. I know Stevie was upset there at the beginning of all this because he got voted out early, but I feel like that was a strategic move that somebody had to make, and I was willing to make it and initiate that, and I feel like that should be commended. Same thing with Van Way and Nate, just rallying guys, manipulating the situation to make them think that they were safe. Van Way went home with an idol in his back pocket, and that was a big part of that was because I made him feel comfortable at the very end, and so I think that was something that not a lot of people knew going into this, and I think that should be commended as well.
John, why should people vote for you?
I don't have that much. That was pretty thorough and articulate, I might add. Yeah, hey, I outwitted them by just playing dumb and laying low. I really did, early on. Everybody thought they would get me out early because I didn't really care about it. But I managed to hang around long enough, gather a little bit of information. Never lied to anybody except Van Way. That you shouldn't count that against me. Sure, nobody's going to hold that against me. Didn't do anything to Stevie. Didn't do anything to Holford. And I might also add that when I finally come to my senses and start dumping players, somebody's going to want them. Trade deadline, and you're not going to be able to lie then because we're going to see votes on video. So, other than that, I did have a hell of a lot more fun doing this than I thought I would. I guess it was a draft meeting. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm just here for the baseball. But it was a lot of fun. And I am anti-group text. Everybody knows that. But it still was pretty fun. Sneaking around, like you said, gathering information, building alliances. It was fun. I had fun. And I'd have fun with the $50 too. Marcus was going to waste his on his wife or something.
Waste on his kids.
Yeah, I'll send you a video of me smoking a big fat cigar. And I'll even break the seal on one of my good bottles of bourbon.
I mean, I think it's important that it'd be awesome just to have a free summer of fantasy baseball. Like honestly, you pay for 21 weeks of fantasy baseball and you get your money back if you win.
I'm pretty sure I can play for free. I'm play.
So, well, it's time to vote. It is officially here. It's the end of the Survivor Cup, the inaugural Survivor Cup, and it's time to vote. So send me a video of who you are voting for, okay? And you can, if you want, you can write it down on a piece of paper, and then you can show it to the camera. and say who you voted for and why you were voting. Bandway is going to put together a nice video, and we'll post it whenever I collect all the votes. So don't wait until next week. Do it as soon as you can, because I don't want to drag this on any longer than it needs to be. And I'm kind of excited to see who wins, and I know Marcus and John are too. So as soon as you see this, send in your video. You can record it from your phone. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be a long video. Just who you're going to vote for and why you're going to vote. And don't just say because I hate Marcus or I hate John. Just say, talk about the 3 categories about winning, outlasting, and outplaying. So talk about those categories and just be honest, and hope you guys vote with an open mind. So with that being said, Marcus, John, thank you for coming on, and best of luck to both of you.